Good morning, Year 11. So let's do our Tuesday video on graphs. Okay, let's get started with question 1. On the grid, draw the graph of x equals 3. You go to your x-axis, you find where x equals 3, and then you draw a line where all of the x coordinates equal 3. The vertical line looking like that. Next one, where y equals 1. You go to your y-axis, you find where y equals 1, and then draw a straight line where all of the y coordinates are 1. So that's where all the y coordinates equal 1. Where do the two lines meet? There we go. When x is 3 and when y is 1. Okay, let's draw our straight line graph. Well, actually, the table has already been completed. We just need to plot that. 0, 3, along nothing, up 3. Use a cross at each point. 1, 5, go along 1 and go up 5. 2, 7, 3, 9, and 4, 11. Use a ruler to join up those crosses and always extend above and below your first and last points. Just really make sure you go across the whole grid. Finding the equation of a straight line. All straight line graphs have the general format of y equals mx plus c. M is the gradient. That is where you work out, you draw a little triangle and you work out the rise, which is this distance here, and divide it by this step here. So the gradient is always going to be this number here divided by the base of the triangle, or rise divided by this step. So m for the gradient is the rise of that triangle divided by its step. C, that is your y-intercept. That is where it cuts your y-axis. I find it easiest when drawing my triangle to start where it cuts the y-axis. It's cutting here at 1, so I know y, the y-intercept is going to be 1. I'm going to draw my triangle across here and then up there. You're looking for two coordinates where this triangle goes through the corners of those squares. So the rise is 1 and the step is 2. So to get the gradient, I need to do that height of the triangle divided by the base of the triangle. So the rise divided by the step. So the gradient is a half, which basically means for every 1 across you go on the x-axis, you're going half up on the y. So the gradient is a half. It cuts here at 1, so C equals 1. Put those together and we have y equals a half x plus 1. Let's have a go at this one. So again, we need to work out the equation of a straight line. Y equals mx plus c. Draw an hour triangle. So we're going to find where it cuts the y-axis, which is here. And then you need to construct a right angled triangle. So it goes and cuts again at this coordinate here. So I'm going to go along 1 square and then up 1. So the rise is 1 and the step is 1. So that means the gradient is 1 divided by 1, which is 1. And it cuts here at negative 1. So we have y equals 1x take away 1. So on to our quadratic graphs now. I'm going to show you how you can check your answer on a calculator. And if this comes up in a calculator paper, there is a way you can program your calculator. However, my reservation is that you're just going to use your calculator to do these. And it could come up in the non-calculator paper. So for all of these, we're going to assume you don't have a calculator. It's in the non-calculator paper. But we're going to check our answers with a calculator so you know you got it right. And if you're lucky and it comes up in the calculator paper, you can then use your calculator. But my reservation is if I show you how to do it on a calculator, you're just going to cheat and do all of these with a calculator, which isn't going to be good for you. So you must do these without to begin with and then just check it with. Okay? So, assuming it's in the non-calculated paper, which it could well be, we want to draw the graph of x squared plus 2x plus 1. We're going to break these down into these terms.
I'm just cooking it now.
So we've got x squared, and then we have plus 2x, and then we have plus 1. So just down here, we're going to split it up into these little parts. So remember, x squared means we're going to take this value here and times it by itself. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9, because whenever you square a negative, it turns into a positive. Negative 2 squared, negative 1 squared, 0, 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared. So you just write out your square numbers. Then we want to do 2 lots of x. 2 lots of negative 3 is negative 6. 2 lots of negative 2 is negative 4. 2 lots of negative 1 is negative 2. 0, and then double 1, double 2, double 3. And then we're going to add on 1 to all of these. And then we can calculate it. 9 take away 6 is 3, add 1 is 4. 4 take off 4 is nothing, add 1 is 1. 1 take off 2 is negative 1, add 1 is 0. 0 add 0 is 1. Sorry, 0 add 0 add 1 is 1. 1 add 2 is 3, add 1 is 4. 4 add 4 is 8. Add 1 is 9, 9 add 6 is 15, and 1 is 16. Okay, now I'm going to show you something now on the calculator. What I do not want you doing is using this for any other questions. You can just do it to check. Okay, so we can program our calculator to find these values, but like I say, do not use your calculator. Only use your calculator to check your answers. Oops. So, hopefully you can see the calculator. On your calculator, you can change the mode by pressing mode, and you can pop it into table format. The function is the graph that you want to plot. So we're going to do x squared plus 2x plus 1. So to do that, we're going to use our x here, this green x. So we're going to do alpha x. We need to square it. We need to add 2x. So we need to add 2 times x. So just pause the video. Hopefully that wasn't too disruptive. I am going to repeat that. Okay, so what we're going to do that again. We're going to do alpha x. We're then going to square it. So your square button, hopefully you can see this. We're then going to add 2 times and then your x. So we're going to do alpha x, and then we're going to add 1. Press equals. We don't need a function 2, so press equals again, and this just tells us we're going to start with x being 0, and it's going to go up adding 1 each time on x. You don't need to change these, just keep them as they are. So just press equals. What it does is it gives your answers in a table. So we can just double. So x is 0 and y is 1. Let's have a look. X is 0, y is 1. Brilliant. When x is 1, y is 4. When x is 2, y is 2. And then you can go down and find the next one. When x is 3, y is 16. Brilliant. Now we put arrow up, we can go into the negatives. So negative 1 is 0. We've got that right. Negative 2 is 1. And then negative 3 is 4. So we've got those all correct. So you can check it on a calculator. Do not rely on that. You may get this in a non-calculated paper. So let's go and plot that. Negative 3, 4. So go left to negative 3. Go up to 4. Negative 2, 1. Negative 1, 0. 0, 1. 1, 4. 2, 9. And 3, 16. Now when we draw our quadratics, we need to make sure that we draw that U shape. No flat bottoms. A nice curve. Use your pencil, guys, in your exam, please. I'm doing these in pen. You should be doing it in pencil. There we go. So let's look at this question here. Write down 2 criticisms of Adam's graph. Hopefully, so he wants to draw this quadratic graph. We need to write down 2 things that he has done. So it's a quadratic graph. We know it needs to be a nice freehand graph. He's used a ruler to join up all the crosses. So we can say something like, Adam has used a ruler to join up the points. It should be a free hand drawn curve, or something to that effect. He also has not created a curve at the bottom. So Adam should have created a curve at the bottom. Okay, so he should have created that nice U shape. So you can say something along the lines of, he has not created the typical U shape or parabola. It should have been curved at the bottom. Okay, over to you guys. So what I'd like you to have a go at, you've got, I'm just covering up my answers there. You've got a cubic graph to have a look at. And what I would like you to do, I will show you this bit here, is create a row for x cubed. Remember, when you cube a negative, your answer stays negative. And when you cube a positive, your answer stays positive. So create a row for cubing, and then negative 3 times a negative 2 gets you a positive. So these will be positive, these will be negatives, and then you're adding 1. Now you can also do this on your calculator. So you can get this into, if I just go back to normal and show you from here. So you're going to go mode, and then number 2 is for table. So press 2. And then the first function, we're going to write it. Hopefully you can see it on your answer sheet. It says x cubed. So do alpha x. You can see a little green x there. And then you're going to cube it. Well, my cubing is just there, but it's the shift button I need. So shift, and then we're going to press this button here for cubing. So we've got x cubed, and then we're going to take away 3 times, and then we want our x button, which is here. So I'm going to do alpha x, and then we're going to do plus 1, and then press equals. Again, function 2, we don't need a function 2, just click equals. The step and the start are fine, and then when you push equals again, you'll get all those answers, but I'm not going to show you that. I want you to work it out for yourselves. So have a go at those answers, press pause, and then play when you're ready. Okay, so here are my answers for my cubic: -1, 3, 1, -1, 3. And you should create this freehand curve, look a bit like this. Onto your quadratic: 5, 0, -3, -4, -3, 0 and 5. You should get this nice U shape, freehand curve, so freehand drawn curve, no flat bottom, so nice curve at the bottom. Your reciprocal function, so you're taking 3 and dividing it by x. You should have got these values here, and it should look something a bit like this. Drawing your straight line graph for values between -2 and 2. These are the values you should have found, and your graph should look something a bit like this. For this one, you've got a step there with 2 and a rise of 1, so the gradient's a half, and it cuts there. Oh no, we wanted the one parallel. So this one cuts at 3, however, it goes through the point 0, -5, so the y-intercept is -5. So y equals a half x, take away 5. So shapes of graphs. Quadratics look like this U shape. Straight line graph, positive gradient going up. Your cubic, this kind of S-type shape. Your reciprocal, and then your negative straight line graph, a downward slope. So matching it up, you should have got B, D, E, C and A. Coordinate A is -1, 2. B is up here. And then y equals -3, a straight line across there. Sketching the graph, this is a reciprocal, so you should have used these 2 quadrants here for your graph. Cubic graph, that was F. Your reciprocal graph is D. Negative cubic is B. Your cubic is C. Your quadratic is D, and your reciprocal is A. Quadratic, where it cuts a y-intercept at -4, is H. Your negative cubic is F, and then your negative reciprocal is J. Y equals cos x, this coordinate here, every time it cuts the axes here at 90 degrees, and it drops down here every 90 degrees, it's going up and down on the y-axis, and it goes up to +1 and down to -1. So this coordinate here must be 180 along, and then down to -1. Okay, well done on those. I'll pop some questions on MathsWatch. Have a good evening, guys, or have a good day. Thanks. Bye-bye.